Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For over 5 years, we've been diving deep into the world of stand-up comedy, sharing stories, insights, and laughs with some of the most talented comedians, club owners, and industry insiders around. Now we're taking you on a trip down memory lane with a special Best Of series. We've handpicked some of the most unforgettable moments, greatest laughs, and top insights from past episodes. So whether you're a longtime listener or just joining us, these episodes are packed with gems you won't want to miss. So sit back, relax, and get ready to relive the laughs. This is Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC, the Best Of edition. Hey, welcome to this week's episode. I am so excited. I am thrilled to be talking to an old friend in comedy, one of the funniest men in the universe. It's Mark Schiff.
Hey.
Hey, Mark.
Hey,
long time no talk, man. It's so great to hear your voice. And I meant what I said. I know you're part of an official group, the funniest men in the universe, but it is true in your case.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure re-hooking up with you. You know, you just remind me of how little money I used to make, and I really appreciate you bringing that up again. I'm shivering just thinking about.
Ouch, let me get that out of my back. Hey, so it is true, though, that didn't you and a few other guys form the funniest men in the universe? And I know it includes Jerry Seinfeld, and I know it includes Larry Miller, but I'm missing somebody, aren't I?
Okay, so there's Paul Reiser, Larry Miller,
okay,
Jerry Seinfeld, me, and Bill Maher was a part of it for one year. There was a guy named Mark Center was part of it for a couple of years, and Steve Middleman was part of it for 1 year. But the core group was Seinfeld, Schiff, Reiser, Larry Miller, and the guy named Michael Hampton Kane.
Wow.
And how it started was 1 year we were all at the comic strip. We were all young comedians out of work, not making any money at all. We were hanging out at New Year's Eve at the club at the comic strip. And we all decided.
I don't want to interrupt, but say, let people know you guys were all in New York at the time. Right.
We were all in New York at the comic strip on 82nd and 2nd in New York and hanging out New Year's Eve. And we all decided, let's have breakfast the next day. And, let's have a New Year's breakfast. And we went to this place. We met for breakfast. We had such a good time. We decided, let's do this every New Year's Day for the rest of our life.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry to say we're not doing it these days, but we did it for 30 years.
Oh, man.
And
that's
eventually it became what I called the $2,500 breakfast because I was living in L.A., and we always had it in New York. So I would have to fly in, put myself up in a hotel for 3 days, pay my airfare. It was only like $2,500 for lunch.
For breakfast and lunch with your buddies from the days.
Right. But what happened was the person that made the most money for the year paid for lunch, and the person that made the second amount paid for the limousine for the day. So hence to say me and I never had to pay for lunch or the limousine. But
well,
now listen to this cool thing. 1 year, Reiser was in London shooting a movie, and he was going to be there over New Year's, so he couldn't come back to New York. So we decided we'll fly to London, and we'll have lunch New Year's Day in London.
No way.
So we all flew to London. We met Reiser, and we tried to rent a Rolls Royce, but it was like $3,000 for the day to rent the Rolls Royce, and we all decided rather than rent the Rolls Royce, let's fly to Paris and have lunch across from Notre Dame. So 5 of us get on the plane, and we fly to France, and we take the subway into town, and we have lunch across from Notre Dame, and that was our New Year's Day.
Man, oh man! Now, that's an amazing commitment story.
By the way, that cost me $5,000 that lunch. That was a $5,000 lunch.
Yeah, these are expensive meals. But what's interesting is not only that camaraderie and that long, deep-seated friendship, but aren't a lot of you working on New Year's Eve? So didn't that make that a little bit more difficult?
Well, that's true too. And 1 year, Jerry was working down in Fort Lauderdale at the Sunrise Theater. It's about 3,000 seats. we all flew down and opened for him.
Oh, did you really?
So, Reiser went on, Larry Miller went on, I went on, and he went on.
That would have been a killer show.
Killer show. And that lunch cost me $4,000. So it was unbelievable.
Wow.
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
It's sad it ended, but for 30 years, that's quite an amazing feat. And you're all very successful, top-of-the-line comics, and I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, we all ended up working and doing stuff. And, interesting enough with that, and then at the end of the day, after the lunch there, we would go for a walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. We started out in we would take the limo to Brooklyn. The limo driver would go across the bridge, meet us on the other side by City Hall, and the 5 of us or 4 of us would walk across the Brooklyn Bridge every year, no matter how cold it was. Even if it was like 15 below up there, we would do it. And we got to the other side, we really felt we started the new year. That was very symbolic for us.
Oh, that is cool. And I bet it made you feel good.
And then we would go and have another lunch, usually at a kosher deli or a Jewish deli somewhere.
Wow. That is
and
a great
the whole
story.
day was about friendship and chatting and talking. And when we first came to the club, we all had all these, dating stories. And then as we got married, there were no more stories.
Well, yes. Well,
so
as it should be.
I want to thank you personally for some of those stories. By the way.
Well, let's use that as a lead-in. How did you end up working with me at Laughs?
I saw that was something you were interested in knowing. I can't put my finger on it, but when you Laughs started, what year?
1980.
Okay, so in 1980, around 1980, 81, I was part of the wave of these new comics coming out. We had been doing it a number of years, 3, 4, and we got pretty good. And we immediately went right to Headliner because there were no middle acts. And there was no, your clubs, these clubs were new. There were no real comedy clubs like this across the country.
Yeah, mine was the 6th.
So when you guys opened up, when you opened your club, you said, who's good in New York and who's this? And then they would send some of the top New York guys who had never really headlined at these places. But we immediately went to that position. So we never had to do middle or opener.
Well, and you guys had already in New York built up enough material and enough funniness that it worked.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sure who introduced you to the club either, but I was very blessed to have worked with Paul Reiser, Larry Miller many, many times, and Jerry Seinfeld several times. And I am sure that one of those introduced you to me, and that's how we got you in. But regardless, we always felt blessed to have you on our stage. And like the other guys from New York, you were definitely always one of the funniest. So thank you for being a part of that to help make Laughs Unlimited.
Thank you. And you had that little backstage. You go up the ramp, right?
Yes. Exactly.
The little
Good
ramp.
memory.
Yeah, a little curtain. Did you have a machine back there? Was it a Coke machine or something?
Yes, we did.
You did. You had a machine back there. I'll tell you a story about. Do you remember Jeannie McBride?
Yes, I do.
Because I worked with her for you one year. It was a really interesting time. I had a drinking thing going on. I was drinking too much, and I decided to quit. And I was booked to do your club for a week. Yeah. So I just quit drinking. And I haven't had a drink now in 35 years, by the way.
And it all started with Laughs. Got it.
Well, let me tell you, that was when I quit that week. So I met Jeannie at the airport in LAX, and she saw I was really chumpy and shaky and all that stuff. And she said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I quit drinking," and and luckily she knew about this stuff because her father had stopped, and he had stopped for 17 years at that point. So she helped me that week get through. Well, it was the weekend. It was a long weekend you did, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes.
Right. So she walked me through that week, and I was kind of shaky, but for some reason, I still was able to really perform at top speed. I don't know how I did. And it was funny because you had did you keep the boxes of beer back there too, like where we were?
Well, we would sometimes, we would sometimes store beer for the bar back
cases.
in the back. Yeah, back.
Yeah, I remember sitting there. I quit drinking. There I am, surrounded by cases of beer.
We're there to support you, Mark.
It was unbelievable. Thank you for all the help. So, anyway, so I want to thank you because that was the weekend that I put the plug in the jug and I have an AA for 35 years.
Well, I know that laughs didn't have anything to do with it, but the fact that you were able to work the club and work with somebody good like Jeannie and get you through it obviously made a difference, or you wouldn't have remembered it. And I didn't know the story. I probably just thought, oh, great, here's Mark, and he's all jittery. But making reference to how you said you still had great sets, I'm going to sidetrack a little and say one of the interesting things about stand-up comedy that I wanted to share with the audience is that we get sick. We have sometimes issues with drugs or alcohol or whatever might be going on, whether you're an entertainer or me, a club owner that would go on stage as the MC. And what I found is almost always, there's a few exceptions, but something about the magic and the energy and the adrenaline of being on stage in front of a fresh new crowd energizes you and allows you to perform and almost excel even though your body is crashing.
Yep. I totally agree with you. You know, there were some days on the road where I couldn't even talk in the morning, and I would sit in these hotel rooms and get some honey and some tea and just stick my head over, hot showers and just get my throat back enough to get through the show and do a good job, and then boom, back again, and then you just get through it.
Yeah, well, it was our job, but it was a job that really meant something to us.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but I think a lot of entertainers and me as an MC club owner, I felt a commitment to the audience that had paid to see what we were presenting, and I took that commitment seriously, that responsibility.
And I did too, and that's why, as Jerry and I, we talk sometimes, that's why we're still working. Because we never abused the audience and treated them like they were less than.
Right, and I have a few examples that I've shared other stories that people that did abuse that trust and responsibility. But obviously, people, the quality and nature of you and Jerry and Larry, even Paul Reiser would not do that. Now you've done a lot of road work, starting in New York and now out of Los Angeles. Do you have any great stories from the road or anything that makes you laugh still or haunts you to this day?
Road stories? I wrote the book on road stories.
No, you have
I wrote the book I Killed with Rich Scheidner. It's the quintessential road stories book. It's a Random House published it. It's called I Killed, True Stories of the Road by America's Great Comics.
I'm going to have to pick that up. I would love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any short ones you remember?
Go to Amazon. It's called I Killed Mark Schiff, Rich Scheidner, and you'll get it. One thing I do remember, it's not a great story, but you had a condo. You didn't have a hotel for us. You had like a house.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, a house and a car.
And for some reason, tell me if I'm right about this, you had plastic sheets under the sheet.
Well, yes, but that was due to...
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I never saw that in my entire life except in your place. The thing would crinkle all night. It was like this it was like sleeping on a raincoat.
Well, I should apologize, but that was for some of the other less tried and true entertainers that were still drinking, if you know what I mean.
And they were bedwetting and stuff like that?
Bedwetting, throw up. Our maids had a lot to deal with.
I always wondered about that. I said, what the hell is going on here? Well, is everybody peeing bed except for me? And
well, a lot of clubs provide hotel rooms or maybe an apartment or something, but we always had a paid condo or house. And what that means is that we were responsible for cleaning it up every week and keeping the various furniture livable. And it was not always easy.
Yeah, no, I believe, in Fort Lauderdale, the comic strip had a condo. They had a cleaning lady there that used to like to do cocaine and have sex with all the comics.
No.
And the comics sometimes would get so drunk or angry about their sets. This was never my issue, but they would do things to the condos. like this one TV set, there was a big chunk of glass missing out of the screen. And the guy had thrown like a brick, and the TV still worked, but there was a big piece of glass. And then one guy, they had a pool, and one guy crapped in the pool just he was so angry. And nobody goes swimming for like 4 months. But the story about me that a lot of people hated me because what happened was, these condos used to have phones in them. Right. And sometimes the comics would take advantage sometimes of, long distance calls or whatever. So I used to be one of those people. And I remember I had some friends in Germany. I called Germany during the week that I was there, maybe about 40, 50 times. The guy got the bill, it was like $500. And he ripped the phone out of the condo.
Ooh.
So when the comics would come in, they go, "Where's the phone?" He would go, "Mark Schiff," blaming on him. So
that made you very popular.
Very popular. Other people, if they knew I was coming in, they would take the phone out of the
oh, really?
The condo.
You had a reputation.
Yeah. So all these comics, they go, so because of you, I couldn't call my family for an entire week.
It's all your
this
fault.
was before cell phones, so I was
right.
really hated for a long time there.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I was not aware of that, and I don't remember any exceptional bills. I mean, we certainly got them, but I would not have been able to pinpoint which comics were involved. But if you did it at my condo, you're forgiven. Your comedy on stage is worth whatever happened.
Well, you're very kind. But, the road was always I had fun with Jimmy Brogan on the road. I'll tell you what I did, okay?
Let's give everybody a little background. Jimmy Brogan is a great stand-up comic, but he was also one of the head writers for Leno.
Jay Leno.
Tonight
Show, yeah.
Yeah, and the Tonight Show. So I just wanted to...
And he just passed working 28 years with Jay every Sunday night at the Comedy Magic Club.
Wow.
In Hermosa Beach, California. They worked together practically every Sunday night that Jay was in town for 28 years.
I saw a posting.
So Jimmy and I used to pull pranks on Jimmy. And one of my favorite ones was Jimmy used to like to sleep late. So he would go to sleep late and he would sleep till 12, 1 in the afternoon. So he put the do not disturb on his hotel door. So I would remove the sign and then I would put a sign on his door that says, "I am deaf. Please knock as hard as you can." Yeah. And the maid would just pound on the door. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, I bet he loved that.
And he would come, what? What's wrong? And she, poor little Spanish lady, and then she would point to the sign there. I don't know, it says the sign there, I'm deaf. And
I didn't know you were such a rambunctious guy. I mean, you're hilarious on stage, but you're a bit of a prankster off. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, we did a couple of those. I put a sign on Jimmy's door, said also that if you have cleaning you want done today, leave it in front of this room here. And people would drop off their suits and shirts
right in front
of Jimmy's door.
Oh, that's
dry cleaning.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So he'd come out to be a whole bottle of dry cleaning ready to go. And
well, that's a great story. And Jimmy Brogan's a good comic. Now, you also, in fact, to this day, still do a lot of work with Jerry. Any interesting
I'm on the road with him the last 15 years.
I think that's incredible. And the two of you together would be a dynamite show. I never could afford that in my club because to me, you were both headliners. But I imagine on the tour, you were doing very well together.
Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Fort Lauderdale at the Seminole Indian Hard Rock Casino. It was 13,000 people, 2 shows, 6,500 people each show.
Wow.
3 people came to see me. 6,400, 997 came to see him each show. It was an amazing, and that's what the gigs are. They're usually 2,000, 3,000 seats, and we go all over the world. We went to Israel twice together.
Man, that's amazing. Well, I know that your friendship goes way, way back, and the fact that you're both tremendous, clean, and funny stand-ups.
We were clean. We still do. And it's in our bones. I had a thing with Jerry one night, very scary thing for a comic. We were in Davenport, Iowa. Middle of nowhere. So we have lunch, and then we go back to the room, clean up. I go to my room, he goes to his room. I go to his room to pick him up to go to the show. We always meet at his room, and he's got his head down on the table. He's sweating. He's shaking. And I go, what's the matter? He goes, I got food poisoning.
Oh, geez.
And and there's a producer on the show too. So we're standing there. We go, well, he can't even stand up. So he goes, they go, what do you want to do? He goes, I got to do the show. I got to do the show. And we take him down to the car, and his legs collapse as we're walking down.
Oh, that's scary.
He can't even walk. He's so sick. So we get to the theater, we get to the dressing room, and they say to me, Jerry and the producers say, okay, you go out there and just stay out there until he's ready. Now, you got to remember, there's 3,000 people, and he's telling me to just, I don't know if it's going to be 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. I have no idea. But that is a frightening thing for somebody to tell a comic.
That puts a lot of pressure on you, for sure.
Yeah, just go out there and stay out there.
Oh, I was just
anyway. After about 40 minutes, I got the sign. He went out and he actually did one of the best shows I'd ever seen.
I was just going to say, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is that I'm sure that for his set, he was able to bounce back and nobody in the audience knew he was dying of food poisoning.
They had no idea, and it was really quite remarkable. But that's another great evening that we had there.
Well, that shows the quality of your comedy entertainment, so I want to share a little bit of that with you, if it's okay, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen,
sure.
Sit back and relax. I got a great short comedy set from Mark Schiff. Enjoy this.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Hello, how are you? All right, good to be here. It's actually been a good day. I did some shopping today. Went to my favorite store. Went to the 99-cent store. I love this place more than anything in the world. Let me tell you something. You know you're not doing well in life if you return things to the 99-cent store. If you have the courage, the audacity to drive back with a can of peas because it wasn't filled enough or something, and you want your 99 cents back. You know, when I walk into 99 cents, so I feel good about myself. I really do. I walk around, I'm looking, I think, I can buy anything I want here. Man, I'm doing good in life. I can buy this whole row for $9. It's phenomenal. And they always have stuff that sound like the original items. I like Del Monte peaches. I'm looking at this can, it says Del Monkey peaches. I bought some shaving cream, 99 cents, a pretty good deal, right? I get home, I shake the can, I go, tss, tss. No shaving cream comes out. Just the sound. Tss. And I'm actually thinking, like an idiot, that's not a bad deal for 99 cents. I love this little thing. Tss. You know, just... Tss. Then they have men's underwear. 40 pair, 99 cents. I'm looking at some country that doesn't even exist is making this stuff. And I'm thinking, don't buy this. Somehow, they've got to be ripping you off. So I bought it. I get home, I put a pair on. The fly is on the side. One hole for both legs. I'm walking around. Incredible. I went to Costco recently. There's another fantastic place. I go there, I think, all right, I'm just going to spend like $80, $90, $1,100 later. You should know, because the shopping cart, there's families that live in these carts. They're so gigantic. It's like 9 people sleeping in it. But, you know, at certain times in your life, you need 200 years worth of mustard at the same time. That's it. I'm buying for life now. That's it. I'm never going out again. 40 years of ketchup. Come on, just pile it in there. And they have these things, they sell everything. They sell surfboards there. They sell coffins. Is this some sort of impulse buy? I said to my wife, honey, why don't you get a blender? I'm going to get a couple of coffins for us. You're not looking great these days, and, you know, it's cheaper here, you know. At Costco, you can return anything. Imagine returning a coffin. I wouldn't open that if I were you. My uncle's in there, but he doesn't seem to like it. So I'm going to give it back to you. I'll just keep that closed for a while. It's crazy. What else here? I think it's I got 3 boys, 3 kids. I got 3 boys, a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 19-year-old, and they all live with us because that's the type of parenting we've done. These idiots aren't going anywhere, I'll tell you. It's awful. Awful. You know, what we have essentially is we don't have 3 children living with us. We have 3 very poor people. Incredibly poor people who don't look like they're ever going to get a job. They just sit around and go, bring me grapes. It's sad. And they're not nice people. You know, most poor people, you know, you give them money, they say thank you. God bless you. Not these 3. Give them 20. Come on, give me the whole wallet. And they're food terrorists. When I buy something I like to eat, I have to eat the whole thing in one sitting. The other day, I ate an entire chocolate chip cheesecake in the car. Because I know I would just be attacked the second I walk in the house. So, actually, my oldest son is getting married. She's not working either. This is a great deal. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with these 2. But, you know, people say, you know, you talk to people who have children, they go, you know, my kid's childhood just went like this in a second, went by. Not mine. Every day an ordeal. Unbelievable. It's a good deal. I'm married for 26 years. It went by like 10 minutes underwater. It was really quite the thing. Wake up in the middle of the night, look at your spouse and think, I'm going to kill him. I got to choke him to death right now. I just can't. I can't have breakfast with this person tomorrow. I can't do it. I had a fight with my wife a couple of months ago. I don't know why I did this. As she was walking away, I mumbled the word psycho. 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 And she's not, but when you call somebody a psycho, they actually turn into one. She just turned around like, psycho? I'll show you psycho. You learn a lot about yourself when you're married and live with someone. I didn't know that I snored. Do you know there's a law that if you snore, they have to wake you and tell you? I don't need this information. I'm out cold, rolling around, having a fantastic time. She's like, honey, get up. You're snoring. What? You're snoring. Really? No? And when you wake up somebody, tell them they're snoring, they're shocked. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't hear anything. How can a person actually sleep through themselves snoring? How can you sleep through? It's in the middle of your head. And you wake up, what? Snoring? Really? I didn't know that. I'll wake you and tell you when you're drooling, all right? You know, being married is like living on the floor of the Senate. Every day, a new speech and new laws being passed. My wife walks around like some English barrister. From now on, things will be different in this family. Leave your socks on the floor, there'll be no dinner for the rest of your life. I didn't know I had so many problems until I got married. But thank God she's there to point those things out. I thought I was doing well. I was hanging by a fingernail. I got a neighbor, the guy's been married 61 years. I said to the guy, Erwin, what's the secret? 61 years. He said, just keep your mouth shut. Shut the hell up. Open your mouth, you're going to start a fight. Just come home from work, wave your hand, hey, I'm home, hello. And sit on the couch, put the TV on. One day you'll fall over dead, it'll all be over. So hang in there. Just relax. Just keep your mouth shut and don't start any fights. Good. Good. It's crazy. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy being married. The dating thing for me was, I was finished. I couldn't talk to another human being. I was just, you ever break up with somebody, and somebody always says something like this, the last thing I want to do is hurt you, which means it's on the list. But it's the last thing I want to do. I got some other things to do first. We'll figure this one out. My parents were married a long time. They've been married so long, my mother's actually sucked the brain out of my father's head. Poor guy just mopes around going, just do what she says. God in heaven, I gotta lay down for a month. When I was a kid, growing up, you could really threaten your kids. When my mother would threaten me, the threats were enormous. You got kids now, you cannot threaten them anymore. They will get a lawyer and just sue you. When I was a kid, my mother would say things like, go ahead, touch that door, I will break your hands off. Open your mouth again, I'll rip the tongue right out of your head. Get in here right now, break every bone in your body. If I have to come in there, I will kill you. That was love when I was growing up. My mother threatened to strangle me, I knew how much she cared. See, the problem was my mother's a very confused woman, unbelievably confused. She didn't think that I had any idea who she was. Because she'd look at me and go, who do you think you're talking to? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Do you have any idea who I am? I don't think you do. And she didn't think I knew who I was. But she looked at me and go, who do you think you are? You're not my child. Anyway, you guys have been great. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice. Thank you. Great time.
Well, Mark, as usual, a stand-up funny guy. Thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Scott. It's fantastic talking with you. You not only are responsible for many of my wonderful evenings having that club, but you're responsible for my horrible early mornings.
Yes.
Because you had us do radio shows, and comedians hate doing radio shows more than having polio. This is...
It's true. It's to market the club. We would get these comics that would work until late in the evening, and then we'd have to be on the TV set or the radio set sometimes at 6, 7 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, you'd go, I'll pick you up at 5:30. We'll go do the radio show, and then I'll take you out for a 79-cent breakfast. I thank you very much for that. You're very kind.
Well,
take us out.
I was always
and
very
comedians,
generous.
When you're really young, you can actually have breakfast, have like breakfast, 3 cups of coffee, and then go right back to sleep. It's quite an extraordinary thing to be able to do.
Yeah, I've never been a coffee drinker, but I'm an iced tea-aholic, and my wife is always amazed that I'll drink iced tea day and night, and it never affects me going to sleep. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is amazing. I'm not like that. But, we used to do those radio shows, and one of the things I used to like about your club where it was an old sack.
That's right.
And I used to like walking on those wooden plank, like...
Historic wooden sidewalks, right.
The historic wooden sidewalks. It was really, really cool. There was something about it. And you had that long walkway down to the club from the street.
Exactly. That's when we were in Firehouse Alley. And that location, which was our best and longest lasting location, out of 3 actually in Old Sac, was my favorite room, and I got to develop it. What was nice about it, and I've mentioned this before, is it had a low ceiling. We were in a basement. It had a ubiquitous brick wall, and it just had that kind of nightclub, jazz club feel to it. And I think that was perfect for stand-up.
It was perfect. You had some really great crowds, and even on sometimes when it wasn't filled and stuff, they were great laughers. I mean, I I don't remember people laughing at a lot of the clubs sometimes, but at your club in particular, there were some really great ones.
Well, that's good. I appreciate you saying that, and we worked hard for that. Now, it's been a while since we've had a chance to work together, over 20 years, and you've been busy touring with Jerry, and you mentioned your book, I Killed, with you and Rich Scheidner, and you can get that on Amazon. Everybody go out and buy this book. I'm going to do that because...
I Killed, True Stories of the Road by America's Comics.
Okay, well, that was too long for me to remember, but I will. I Killed, True Stories.
By Mark Schiff and Rich Scheidner, yeah.
Got it. Okay, everybody, make sure
you'll know a lot of people in the book.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it'd be perfect for me. I hope the audience agrees and gets a chance to buy it, but I'm definitely going to. I love books like that. I've read most of the books out there by comics that I worked with, and it's always great to reminisce about and hear their stories from other clubs, but also sometimes experiences at my club are in there. What else have you been working on, or anything that's exciting coming up for you?
Well, I write a lot. I've been writing a lot of articles. I wrote 40 articles for a paper here called the Jewish Journal in L.A. You got like 1 million people that subscribe to it. And I write a lot of articles for them. I'm writing a short story book.
Oh, cool.
And I wrote 2 plays.
No way.
I got done. Yeah. One was called The Comic. It starred Larry Miller, 2-person play. And he was unbelievable. It went to Aspen, actually, to the comedy festival, HBO Comedy Festival.
Well, you picked a great guy. Larry's one of the best guys out there, and if you give him the right material, there's no holding him
He was
down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I wrote another play with a guy named Steve Schaefer. You remember Steve Schaefer?
I remember the name. He didn't work for me. I knew what he was doing in the business, but you picked a couple good guys.
So we I wrote a couple of plays and a lot of stories, and that's what keeps me busy. I got a wife of 30 years and 3 kids that are out of the house.
Oh,
My son is an agent at CAA.
No way.
And I know that he's a great agent because he won't even return my calls anymore.
Just
so
like
I know
good
he's
agent.
Really.
Oh, that's funny, and that's interesting that he went into the business, but on that side of the fence.
Yeah, I have no performers. I have 3 kids, 2 in the business, in production, and 1 in finance.
Wow. Well, congratulations. You are certainly one of the funniest men in the universe. You've had a great wealth of success in your life in comedy. I know that you're one of the not only funniest performers out there, but you're also a great writer. And I didn't know about the plays in the book, but we're going to take advantage of that. And I thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you, Scott. My pleasure. Pleasure catching up with you. A lot of good memories from working your club. I really appreciate every time you hired me.
Well, you're welcome, and it was a pleasure for us, too. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out Mark's book, and also we hope you enjoyed the set and the information today. We have another podcast coming out next Sunday. In the meantime, be sure to listen, rate, and share. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's show. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a great one. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, Your Host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.